Good evening, everyone. We're here for City Council meeting. It is Monday, September 16th, 2019. We'll start the meeting with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Nordstrom, Modrick, Roberts, Stroman, Armstrong, Lewis, Lehman, Drury, Evans, Drew. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And tonight we're missing our invocation, so we'll go straight to the Pledge of Allegiance, if you could join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Thank you, everyone. And now we'll ask for the adoption of the agenda. This is a time when the council can adopt the agenda as written, or they can make alterations to it. So would there be a motion from the council? Motion to adopt from Drury and a second from Modrick. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now a couple of awards and recognitions. I would like first to have Deborah Shelton come up. And we're going to recognize Constitution Week in our nation, and I have an executive proclamation to read to that effect. Whereas September 17th, 2019 marks the 232nd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Steve Allender, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Rapid City, do hereby proclaim September 17th through the 23rd, 2019, as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. And now Mrs. Shelton would like to say a few words.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Debbie Shelton, and I'm the chairperson of the Constitution Week activities for the Black Hills chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. All DAR members have an ancestor who fought in the Revolutionary War. And I made this dress so you can see how women dressed during that period. And to get you in the mood to hear about Constitution Week, and no, DAR members don't dress like this at meetings. The Constitution is a living document that assures each citizen of the freedoms Americans appreciate. As members of the DAR, it is our responsibility to keep our ancestors' legacy alive by promoting the ideals they fought to give their descendants, me. During this divisive time in our history, we want everyone to remember we are united under this document. DAR has several events planned for this week in Rapid City. Tomorrow, Diane Glover will portray Dolly Madison at the Rapid City Public Library at noon. Dolly Madison was married to James Madison, who is called the father of the Constitution. She gives a female perspective to the writing of the Constitution. At 4 o'clock tomorrow, the bells at the First United Methodist Church downtown will ring to commemorate the signing of the Constitution, just as the Liberty Bell did in 1787. On Saturday, September 23rd, Peter Vodenka, who is the author of the book Journey to Freedom, will tell his riveting story of escaping communist Czechoslovakia at the Rapid City Public Library at 11 o'clock. Attendees will be inspired, I'm sure, to cherish the freedoms granted by our United States Constitution. We have also given a book about the writing of the Constitution to all the school libraries to read to their students. Our goal is to educate our children about the Constitution and what rights it provides. I hope that each one of you this week will take a few minutes to reflect on the role the Constitution plays in your lives as Americans. And thank you, Mayor Ellender, for making this proclamation, naming September 17th to the 23rd as Constitution Week in Rapid City, South Dakota. Thank you.
Step over to one side and get some pictures.
Very good, and the flag's perfectly placed.
And now I'm going to invite up our Public Works Director, Dale Tech, to make an introduction for our next guest.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, the audience. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce Alex Licht. Alex is a senior at Stevens High School and was selected this year to attend Girls State representing Rapid City, and then was also selected at Girls State to Girls Nation, where she represented South Dakota in Washington, D.C. So Alex has a few words to say tonight. I'd also like to say Alex is my stepdaughter, and I'm very proud of her.
Sorry, I'm tall. I have to adjust. So to start off, I would like to thank all of you for your time. I really appreciate it. As Dale mentioned, my name is Alex Licht. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Stevens High School. And I would like to share with you guys my experience through ALA Girls State and then to ALA Girls Nation. So last year, I was sitting in class and I heard something kind of peculiar come over the announcements. It was regarding Girls State, a week-long government class for South Dakota juniors. I signed up, and through the blur of finals, it felt like the next day that I was packing. Not knowing what to expect, I was certainly nervous. I called my friend Sydney and probably 10 times tried to brainstorm different ideas of how to get out of it. Some of them included breaking a leg, faking a family death, or simply pretending I forgot. But none of them worked, so eventually I had to go. Being there in Vermilion for a week was one of the best times that I have ever had. It started off with arranging the some 370 girls into different cities where we elected a city council. I had to Google you all in preparation for this. And then this was followed up by moving into counties where we elected coroners and attorneys who later in the week participated in a trial. We also divided into political parties who elected senators and representatives. I somehow made it to the Senate, and for me, that meant that my week was done. I had done my work, and I could slack off for the rest of it. That was until my counselor told me about Girls Nation. It was a simple interview, so I decided, might as well, right? And I can't really tell you what happened in that interview room. Certainly some laughing and possibly some crying, and then much more crying when I found out I was selected. And then later that summer, my two parents were shockingly fine with the situation when they sent me off to DC. My loving mother and stepdad Dale, as I lovingly refer to him, Stepdale, sent me off on the plane. Arriving in DC, you guys can feel free to use that one too. Arriving in DC, I was nervous again. I had to remind myself of how pleasantly surprised I was with my Girls State experience. And let me tell you, Girls Nation did not disappoint. It could take me hours to list all of the things we did and how profound their impacts were on me. But since we just have a couple of minutes, I'll go through a list. We got to see the National Mall, Arlington National Cemetery, the 9/11 Memorial at the Pentagon, a live military reenactment, the White House, which included a private meeting with the Vice President, and Capitol Hill. I learned a lot about our country. I could rattle off all of the different offices and procedures I learned about. However, the most important thing I saw wasn't on some tour, but it was in the girls that I met there. We all came from very diverse backgrounds. We had different faiths, different birth countries, different skin colors, and different political views. But we were all united on the basis of our common patriotism. I also learned a lot about our state. Out of the 100 girls, only a handful got to meet their state legislators. We got to meet all 3. Each one of the men showed the utmost kindness and respect towards us. They gave us time to voice our opinions, gave us possible job connections for the future, and even private tours of the Capitol. Each one also had a buffalo head hanging in their office, so when we saw it, we knew we were in the right place. While standing on the Capitol balcony with Dusty Johnson, I can easily pinpoint that moment as when I was most proud to be a South Dakotan. I quite literally cannot say enough, but I will keep saying it. This experience changed my life. So thank you to the American Legion Auxiliary, the people who volunteered, and most importantly, those who served. None of it would have been possible without you. To brag a little bit about Rapid City, just for 1 second, this is the 3rd year that a girl from Rapid City has not only gone to Girls State, but to Girls Nation. This girl has been from Rapid, she has always been from Stevens, and from the Stevens speech and debate team, so we'll start recruiting for next year. I know that it meant a lot to me, so if you know any young boys or girls who are juniors this year in high school, I cannot recommend this experience enough so that they can come back with all the information they learned and share it with our community. Thank you.
Okay, now is the time on the agenda where we normally have general public comment, but we don't have anyone here who's filled out a form for general public comment. So we'll move on to non-public hearing items 3 through 43 and open public comment on 3 through 37. There are no speaker requests for those items. And so on to consent items 3 through 37. Would the council like to pull any items on the consent calendar tonight? Pauline Sumption would like to pull item 26. Any other items that need to come off consent? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Motion by Armstrong, second by Drury. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're through consent. Now on to non-consent items, 38 through...
Go to 26.
Oh. Huh? Oh. Well, you said you wanted to pull it. You didn't say you wanted to talk about it. Okay, sorry. Getting ahead of myself. Item 26 is to approve resolution number 2019-078, a resolution levying assessment for abatement of nuisances. We'll go to Pauline Sumption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I asked this to be pulled because the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development paid their 2 assessments. I believe they're number 12 and 13 on the list, so those need to be removed.
Okay, then can we have a motion to approve item 26 with the amendments?
Second.
Motion by Modrick and a second by Bill Evans. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, non-consent items 38 through 43. We have no speaker requests for those items. And so we'll start with ordinances, item 38. First reading of ordinance number 6348 regarding supplemental appropriation number 6 for 2019. Motion to approve by Modrick. Second by Nordstrom. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 39, first reading, ordinance 6357, and ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Yasmin Dream LLC for a rezoning request from medium-density residential district to office commercial district for property generally described as being located south of Jaffa Garden Way and west of Elderberry Boulevard. Motion to approve by Drury. Second by Nordstrom. And we'll go to Darla Drew.
Thank you, Mayor. Is anyone here that represents Yasmin Dream or this KTM project? Anybody? Okay. Maybe Dale could answer a question on this.
Okay, well, let's take a shot at
Could
it.
I ask, yeah, could I direct a question to Public Works, please? Or Community Development? Okay, Ken's got his hand. Okay, I'd like to direct this to Ken Young, Community Development, if I could.
Okay.
Okay, and now that I've found somebody. I see that we got 3 items here, and they're changing everything from the medium-density residential to office commercial district. Do you know what's going to happen in there? Are they building an office complex of some kind? Could you just give me a little rundown on what's happening there?
Yeah, we don't have an exact site plan for the office commercial that they are proposing to put in there, but it is office commercial. And since the property that they're wanting to put that on, according to their master plan that they've submitted, falls across a few of the existing property lines. They just wanted to clean it up and make sure the zoning was correct for placing office development on these properties. So there's just a few little slivers of property here that we're rezoning. And they are also in conjunction with a couple of the other ordinances are at the end of this agenda that once they came in with their final development to plan, or their master plan, we determined that there was a few more items that they needed to have rezoned. So there's actually 5 different items, 3 of them here on the first reading and 2, I believe it's only 2 on the second reading, that are all related to the same proposed office development.
So this was always part of the plan? I guess I missed that. I thought this was all to be a residential development, and what kind of caught my eye on this was it was kind of a divider between some of the more high-end and the low-end homes in the area, and as my recollection of this is we were going to have a large area where diverse financial groups could intermingle, whether it be on a playground or just by living in close proximity of each other. Instead, we're going to build a wall of office spaces between the 2 areas. That's what I'm comprehending that they're doing, and it's against what I thought I was voting for in the first place.
Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have their proposed master plan to throw up juxtaposing with the previous one, but it is set up so that there will still be a significant amount of recreational and open space areas. This property that's now zoned general commercial was part of their master plan to be a commercial property. The recreational properties are down below that in what is currently shown on the map as medium density or agricultural zones. That's where the recreational and open space areas will be.
Are these offices somehow some kind of management company offices? Is that what they envision for? No?
It could be. I don't have detail as to what exactly they're putting in there, but it is correct to say that the general commercial zoning that has been put in place based on their previous master plan would have allowed for other types of commercial, but they're wanting to focus on office, which is kind of more of a buffer between more intensive commercial operations and residential.
So what we're doing is we're just okaying a sliver of property on the edge of what was already considered to be office development there. I mean, that was already part of the plan. I must have missed that somehow. I thought this was all.
Let me just verify. Are you thinking of the Shepherd Hills development?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm thinking of Orchard Meadows. I just thought it was all supposed to be, I knew there were different levels of income groups that were going to be able to afford homes in this area, affordable and apartment dwellings and those kinds of things. To me, if we put an office space in the middle of it, it kind of divides it out, depending on what those offices are. So I'm just having a little bit of a I'm having a little bit of a problem saying yes to this right now without knowing more about what those are going to be. It's probably going to be fine. I can't imagine that it's going to be anything real detrimental, but to me it just kind of offsets what we were thinking about as far as, the development of this particular tract of land.
Yeah, again, I wish the developer was here that they could express more in detail what they were planning on in this area. However, just want to point out again that the existing zoning is either agriculture on just a very small piece, but otherwise we're looking at general commercial zoning, which is going to go to office commercial. So we're not taking away from the residential. We're decreasing the intensity of commercial development that will go there.
Okay. I'm sure I can vote yes to this, but I guess I'll just have to find out a little bit more and just dig into this and see if I can really support it. And let's see, is this a first or second reading? This is a first reading. Okay, so I've got some time. Thank you.
Okay, motion on the floor for 39 is for approval. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 40, first reading ordinance 6358, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Yasmin Dream LLC for a rezoning request from General Agricultural District to Office Commercial District for property generally described as being located south of Jaffa Garden Way and west of Elderberry Boulevard. Motion to approve Modrick, second by Drury. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 41, first reading ordinance 6359, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Yasmin Dream LLC for a rezoning request from General Agricultural District to Office Commercial District for property generally described as being located south of Jaffa Garden Way and west of Elderberry Boulevard. Motion to approve by Modrick and second by Drury. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 42. First reading ordinance 6360, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Long Branch Civil Engineering for John Parker and Rob Skull for rezoning request from Office Commercial District to General Commercial District for property generally described as being located southeast of the intersection of 5th Street and Parkview Drive. The recommendation from committee was to approve in conjunction with the associated final plan development overlay, file number 19 PD038. Motion to approve Drew, second Drury. All in favor of that item say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now that we're done with the ordinances, under Public Works Committee items, we have nothing but City Attorney has reminded me that we've forgotten to talk about something. We both assumed that the item 23 was going to be discussed here tonight. So essentially what I'm asking the council to do is go back and talk about that item. Might be more appropriate to add item 23A under Public Works Committee items so that we can discuss specifically when the policy will take place. So can we have a motion to add this item onto the agenda under Public Works?
Second.
Motion for Modrick, second Armstrong. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, then this item 23 has been passed, and so that will be the new procedure. The question remaining is when to make the policy effective, and I believe the City Attorney has something you'd like to say about it.
Thank you, Mayor. When we had the discussion at the committee meeting, we did discuss whether or not you wanted to make it retroactive to the beginning of the year. I would need a specific direction from the council to do that. I think that would be staff's recommendation, is to make it retroactive to the beginning of this year. And then going forward, if you don't do that, then it will take effect from this point forward. So all the people that you've heard from would still be under the previous policy.
Okay, thank you. And pardon?
Do we need action on that?
Yeah, we should get a vote from you, but I just want to say before I hand it over to Lisa Modrick that that would be my recommendation too, after hearing all of the issues and all of the folks affected by sewer backups this year, that we make it retroactive to January. And for the record, I know I've talked about my own sewer backups. I have not had one in 2019, so this will not affect me. Okay? So Lisa Modrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Too much information. I just want to, first of all, I want to make that motion that we retro it back based on recommendation to January 1.
Okay, second by Lehman.
And if I could retain the floor. I also want to give just a great appreciation to the staff that's worked on this, legal, the mayor, the council, the constituents. Oh my goodness, the piles and piles of work that they've done in order to address this and to bring it forward to us so that we could bring something that needed to have a review on it up to just bringing even the price alone up to more of what today's pricing is was a huge accomplishment. And if I could just hope with this motion, if it goes through, that we would also consider from the dialogue, the conversations, and the committee meetings, as well as from the constituents, that we will form something that will assimilate a committee in order to prepare ourselves for this and perhaps other events that can be out of the city's control, but needs to have a plan before it hits. And this would be the time to do it, is after this motion and after we've made the progress that we have. And so I'm going to put that back into your leadership so that we can do great things, so that if your sewer backs up in 2020, Mayor, we are ready for you. Thank you.
Sounds good. So we have a motion on the floor then to make item 23, the policy articulated in item 23, retroactive to January 1st, 2019. So all in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for adding that and clearing that up. Under Legal Finance Committee items, we have one item, item 43, and we'll go to Legal Finance Committee Chair Becky Drury.
Thank you, Mayor. Approve the audit report of City of Rapid City -2018 financial and compliance report. The recommendation is to take this to a special council meeting without recommendation. And if I may call upon Pauline Sumption to clarify this for us.
Yep.
You
Please.
bet. So Kelsey had sent out a survey asking who would be available when, and it looks like where we could get the most participation from council would be on the 25th. I believe that's a Wednesday at noon. And so we just got their final comments this afternoon, and so Dave will be working this week to get those ready to go for you for next time, for the 25th at noon.
Okay. So
And the holdup wasn't with I'm sorry, Mary, but the holdup wasn't with the city. It was someone was sick who had done the audit or something like that, correct, Pauline?
The second partner review auditor had a family emergency,
Okay.
and so she was not able to review it in time for tonight's meeting.
okay, so did we have a motion? Did anyone make a motion yet? Okay, motion by Lehman, and second by Nordstrom to move this item to the special council meeting. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us down to public hearing items 44 through 53. There are no speaker requests on these items, so we'll go to consent public hearing items 44 through 50. Would the council like to pull any of these items? If not, could we have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Armstrong to approve the consent items, and a second by Stroman. All in favor of that action, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that's the end of consent. So non-consent public hearing items 51 through 53. Starting with 51, second reading ordinance 65, 6353, an ordinance amending Section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Dream Design International for Yasmin Dream LLC for a rezoning request from General Commercial District to Office Commercial District for property generally described as being located northwest of Jaffa Garden Way. Motion approved by Nordstrom. Second by Drury. All in favor of approval, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 52, second reading ordinance 6354, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Dream Design International for Community Enhancement LLC 2 for a rezoning request from General Commercial District to Office Commercial District for property generally described as being located south of Jaffa Garden Way. Motion by Modrick, second by Nordstrom. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 53. Airport Addition, deny resolution 2019-058, a request by Fisk Land Surveying and Consulting Engineers for David Ritter to consider an application for vacation of right-of-way for that portion of Wood Avenue right-of-way adjoining blocks 11 and 12 of Airport Addition, located in the northwest quarter of Section 25, so on and so forth. Rapid City, Pennington County, South Dakota, more generally described as being located within Wood Avenue, lying south of Knollwood Drive. The recommendation is to deny the resolution. Darla Drew.
Thank you, Mayor. Could I direct a question to Dale, please? Dale Tech?
Yes.
Yes, and could you just give me an idea of why we're denying this resolution? A little more information.
Yeah, this section of right-of-way is adjacent to Knollwood Drive. It's been identified in a number of studies, both formal and informal, that there will be a future connection necessary there to help with our growth in our community and the increase in traffic that we see in the Knollwood Drive and Haynes Avenue corridor primarily. As most of you are well aware and have tried to use the intersection of Knollwood and Haynes, it's very difficult. And certainly another route to get cars from Knollwood down to a traffic signal at Lindbergh is a preferred alternative. If we vacate this right-of-way, that option goes away. So that's staff's primary reason for not to allow this right-of-way to be vacated.
Thank you. That's what I needed.
Okay. Motion to deny from Nordstrom, second by Stroman. All in favor of denial say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now we are in need of an executive session to consult with legal counsel regarding proposed or pending litigation pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2 subsection 3. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to move.
Motion by Armstrong, second by Drury. All in favor of going into executive session say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are in executive session. Okay, we are back. May I have a motion to come out of executive session, please? So moved. Motion by Armstrong, second by Lehman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, we're back in regular session. No action will be required pursuant to the executive session. And so we'll move back onto the agenda. Item 54 is the bill list. We'll go to Pauline Sumption, Finance Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are no additions to the bill list, so the total is that which is attached at $6,833,855.64.
Motion to approve Nordstrom, second by Modrick. All in favor of approving the bill list, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Have a motion to adjourn, Lehman, second by Armstrong. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.